All right, what is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast real estate tip. And today I'm here to talk to you about how to get listings from your open houses. Look, if you are extremely strategic with your open houses, yeah, you're going to get buyer business, but you can get a ton of listings, a ton of seller business if you know how to go out there and position these and do these correctly. So today I'm going to walk you through my 6-step open house process. And again, how you can get that market share, could take over a subdivision, take over an area, get a ton of listings, when it comes to this. And why open houses? I'm not saying that you have to do them. It's just an amazing way to do business if you choose to do your real estate business this way. It's the quickest way to now money. It is extremely predictable. You get to pick and choose your price point, pick and choose the location, pick and choose the area that you want to work in. You're going to get buyers, but you're also going to get a great high amount of sellers. And if you look at this statistically through NAR's, NAR's research, 6% of sellers, when interviewed after the fact of how they found their realtors, found through open houses. So then when you look at, when they're surveyed after the fact, you got 6% total between FSBOs, expires, and circle prospecting that found their agents through those three mediums. So you got 6% that found their agent through an open house. Well, then if we break it down, 2%, let's say found their agent through getting a call on an expired listing, 2% from a FSBO, that got a call from an agent, 2% from circle prospecting. So this is, essentially 3 times as powerful to get listings as each of those. Now that could be argued in different ways because of scalability, but nonetheless, it is a highly effective way to go out there and get clients, to go out there and get sellers if you position these right inside your real estate business. So today I want to walk you through the 6 things that you must nail if you want to do these, if you want to do these effectively, and if you want to get listings. Now, real quick though, before I jump into these 6 steps, make sure to check out gsdmode.com for more additional free resources, more additional free training. And I highly encourage you on there. You can schedule a 100% free, 0 strings attached Zoom coaching call with me personally, where we're going to break down where your business is at, where your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals and visions are for your business. And I'm able to map out exactly what my personal recommendation is to get you from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible, so we can eliminate all that guesswork where you know exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. And look, if you maybe you're not struggling, maybe your business is doing amazing, you're doing great, you got great momentum, and you just would like to have a conversation with me, just an overall audit, just to get my eyeballs and 2 cents on what you're doing, see if there's some areas of improvement. Happy to do that with you there as well. So if you want to jump on a 60-minute free Zoom coaching call with me, go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. Or again, you can go to gsdmode.com. You'll see an area to go out there and do that. Or wherever you're watching or listening to this, if you scroll into the description of the show notes, you'll see the link on there to go out there and schedule that. Okay, so now let's jump into the 6-step process for nailing open houses. And again, you're going to get some buyers out of this. Now, you can choose to not work with those buyers. You can refer those out. Or you can, find a buyer's agent that's going to go, just maybe you're paying them, 20% of the gross commission or 10% of the gross commission, or you're paying them a per door that they open. If you don't want the buyer business, okay, there's ways to go out there and delegate it. Don't just walk away from it and not get anything. But if you want to get listings, and you're going to get some strong buyer business out of these open houses too. But you got to nail these 6 steps. Okay, so step number 1 is making sure that you nail property selection. Now, let me just really quickly say this. With these 6 different steps, it's like baking brownies. Right now, I got to come up with a better analogy because I've never baked brownies in my damn life. But okay, if you're baking brownies, you got to put all these ingredients together in this specific way, right? And then you got to make sure it's in the right pan. Then you got to preheat the oven to the exact temperature that needs to be. Then you put them in the oven for the exact amount of time that needs to do, and then you pull them out, let them sit for the time it needs to sit. And if you do all of that right, then boom, now you got some damn good tasting brownies. But you missed one of those steps. Maybe I forget to preheat the oven. Maybe I leave it in there for 10 minutes longer than it's supposed to be. Or I don't leave it in there for long enough. Or I miss the flour, one of the important ingredients. It doesn't turn out. So all 6 steps of these, you got to nail. Right? You move out one, okay, you're probably going to get half-ass results, right? Okay, so step number 1, property selection. So thinking of open houses as your storefront for the day where you have the highest probability of your ideal client walking through that door. So if I want more listings, and again, as I said earlier, I love open houses because I get to pick and choose my price point. I get to pick and choose the location, the area, the type of people I want to work with. I can pick all of that. But if I want to maximize listings, okay, then I'm going to want to do open houses on areas where you got a lot of move-up buyers coming in those areas, or downsizers. Right? So, okay, like for me, one of my favorite ideal clients throughout my whole entire business is that last step move up buyer. Right. So, okay, they're 40 to 55-year-old married couples. They typically got kids still in junior high school. So I know what zip codes, I know what neighborhoods, I know what they're looking for. I know the type of property, I know all of that. Right. So and when I talk about property selection, you want to do the open house on the type of properties in the areas that they want to be living in. It's kind of like Field of Dreams. Build and they will come. Do the open house on the property in the area and on the type of property that you know your ideal client wants. You increase the probability of your ideal client walking through that door, right? So then why do I like this ideal client? Okay, well, it's a higher price point. They're moving up. But guess what? In the vast majority of cases, they got a damn house. They got a house that they need to sell in order to get the down payment to be able to, move up to this property. So I'm able to kill two birds with one stone, one activity, get two closings out of it. Or let's just say, okay, if I'm working with downsizers, okay, again, I'm going to do the open house in the communities on the top of properties. Maybe my ideal client is, okay, empty nesters, kids have left, they're now empty nesters. So I'm going to identify that demographic, okay, where are they moving to, what are the price points, where are the communities, then I'm doing the open house in those areas, right? So, because, when people are thinking about buying a home or selling their home, they're not like, oh, honey, we're thinking about selling. Let's just go find an agent and list our house. Now, first step is let's go see what's available to go out there and buy first. They need a place to go. This is where it starts. They don't start on the sell side. They start on the buy side. So we got to get really strategic with property selection. So then that way we have the highest probability of getting through those that are buying and also selling so we can help them and get those listings. Okay, number 2, pre-marketing. So when I'm pre-marketing this open house, now you got different, pre-market you could do to drive more traffic to the open house, which is all good stuff to do. Example, like making sure it's showing up on the MLS 72 hours before the open house, so it syndicates to Zillow, Realtor.com, all of that. But if I want to maximize on listings, part of my pre-marketing is going to also be, either calling or door knocking the 500 closest neighbors. So then I can have an open house invite flyer where I can, go through a quick script with them, invite them to the open house, see if they have any friends, family members, coworkers that they know that they'd love to, be able to have the opportunity to pick their neighbors. I can give them a flyer too, where they can, show that. Now, it's usually no on those, right? Why am I really door knocking this? I'm not door knocking to increase the amount of people that come to the open house. I'm door knocking because I'm leveraging this open house event, open house opportunity to go out there and be able to have conversations with homeowners in that area, offer them free home equity reports so you can see how much equity they have in their home, get them in my database, right? So I can develop those relationships for if and when they're ready to go out there and sell, to go out there and move those properties and sell those properties. Okay, so we got to nail pre-marketing, number 2. Then we got, number 3, we got setup. Now our setup is going to be, we want to make sure that we get as many people to that open house as we possibly can. Now that we got the property selection, right, we've done our pre-marketing. Some of the pre-marketing, can drive a little bit of extra traffic to it, but it's really going to be the setup. That's really going to be, the main component, at least in my experience, of driving traffic. So here's an example when it comes to setup. So this is really going to be your signage, as well as, what the actual kind of display what the open house looks at the property itself. So, your average agent, average realtor goes out there. Maybe they put out 6 open house signs, maybe 12, right? But they're looking, what's the closest entryway to the subdivision that leads to the property, and they'll have their 12 open house signs. Well, most subdivisions have 4 entry exit points. So I'm going to get a Google map. I print it out and I look at, I'm going to make sure that it doesn't matter where they're entering or exiting from the subdivision, everybody's led to that property. Then from each entry exit point, I'm going to make sure that we go out to a half-mile radius. So when your average realtor is using 12 signs, I might be using 60 or sometimes even more. So 90% of people that come to my open house say they came through because they saw the signs, right? So we got set up. So, the signage leading to the property. Then the property itself, man, I want to make it look like a damn circus. So I have 11-foot tall, big open house feather flags. I'll put 3 or 4 of those in the front yard. I might have 6 open house signs between the front yard and the driveway, balloons. I want to make this like I'm demanding attention. I'm making this look like a circus. I'm making this look like a big event. It captures the attention of the neighbors. Obviously, people that are coming to the property then can't miss it. They're going to see it from the open house signs anyway. But I'm capturing the attention of the neighbors, right? Because again, we want to maximize this to get as many sellers because we're going to get buyers, but we're going to also maximize this to get as many sellers as I possibly can. So making it look like that circus where they're like, holy crap, man, this realtor is really putting on this event, to go out there and drive people to the open house. I can't tell you how many open houses I've done and I continue to do where I'll get a seller that comes in the area and they're like, hey, I've been through maybe they spend 30 minutes in the house. And they're like, man, you've done more and got more people through this house in 30 minutes I've been in here than my agent has in the last 2 months of my home being on the market. Like, I want this, right? And then they ask if I'd be willing to sit down and have a conversation with them about getting their home listed. Now, they solicited me. I didn't solicit them, so I'm able to have a conversation with them even though their house is listed. I can't sign that contract until, obviously, that contract is canceled or expires, but they asked me, they solicited me. I didn't solicit them, right? So we got the overall setup. Makes a world of difference. Then, okay, step number four is we've got to nail the sign-in process. So I've just found that 90% of human beings will do exactly what you ask them to do if you give them simple, easy to follow, clear, concise instructions with a compelling reason that makes sense in their head as to why you're asking them what to do. Now, I used to have so many coaching clients, so many of my teammates that would have resistances that called BS or wouldn't believe me, wouldn't do this. But, since COVID, I think everybody gets it now. Now, whether you think it was legit BS, like I'm not here to debate that, right? What I'm here to say, though, is just observe what happened. Okay, overnight, we're told, got to shut down, got to lock down, work from home, mask up, 6 feet apart. The reason why we're asking you to do this is there's this 100-year pandemic that's killing people. 90%, so you got simple, easy to follow instructions with a compelling reason as to why they're asking you to do those things. 90% of the population just went with the instructions, went with the grain, right? Not against it. So same thing with my open houses. Easy to follow instructions with a compelling reason. So, okay, they're walking up to the open house, a retractable banner that has 5 steps. It says, welcome to the open house. Then step number 1, come inside. Step number 2, sign in. Step number 3, take a look around. Step number 4, fall in love. Step number 5, make an offer. Then below that, it says, if this home isn't for you, no worries, I can show you others. If this home is not for you, no worries, I can show you others. Then, okay, they get to the front door. At eye level, I have a laminated sign that says, per seller's request for security purposes, everyone must sign in. That's the compelling reason as to why we're asking them to do what we need them to do. Because, okay, I can drive all the traffic to the open house, but if I don't get them to sign in, they are not a lead. Right? The whole point of any activity that we are doing for lead generation exists to generate a lead. I need to get them to sign in. I want 90% of people to sign in without me having to ask so I can focus all of my time on the tour. Then I got my sign-in table, same retractable sign, same sign, clipboards, all that, so I can get them to sign in so I can allocate all my time on the tour. Then step number 5, you got to nail the tour process. I'm not going to go through all my tour scripts, all of that, because that'd be a whole different separate podcast. But one of the things I love about open houses is it's one of the only lead sources where you're immediately face-to-face with a lead. So it gives us a chance to develop instant rapport, identify goal, identify timeline, set the appointment if able or appropriate. But at the end of that tour, I'm not going to end that tour. And the whole intention of the tour and all my tour scripts and all that exists to set me up to ask for that appointment at the end of the tour. Then, okay, whether I'm able to get the appointment or not. Now, that leads us to step number 6, which is then the follow-up. We got to nail the follow-up, right? So I'm going to put them in my CRM. 1,000-day email text strip campaign. They're going to be getting proper lists. They're going to be getting my calls. They're going to be getting your ongoing follow-up protocol to maximize conversions. Now, the thing I want you to understand is there's going to be 3, I don't know, I'm holding up 4 fingers. There's going to be 3 different types of leads that you get from your open house. You got buyer leads, you got nosy neighbor leads, then you got sellers that you were able to obtain their address. So many in our industry are like, oh man, I just get these nosy neighbors, open house don't work, get a bunch of nosy neighbors. Look, you want nosy neighbors. Right, number 1, it's a defense mechanism. They're not going to tell you, oh yeah, I'm thinking about I live in the area, I want to sell my house. Like they know you're the sales guy. Yeah, right, they don't want to be sold. People do not want to be sold. So a lot of times that's a defense mechanism, but whether it is or isn't, this is a human being that I had a chance to meet, had a chance to build rapport with, that I've been able to get in my CRM, to get in my database, that owns a home, that lives in this area, that at some point is going to sell. So you got to play the long game too, right? You're going to get people that are ready to hot to trot today. You're going to get people that are ready to rock and roll in 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? So we got to play that immediate game, that mid game, and that long game. So I want to have my, so if you look at my automated, 1,000-day email text strip campaigns, those are differentiate based on lead type. then based on my property list, based on my calls, based on my, my then 5.5 monthly broadcast emails. It differentiates based on the type of lead source that they are. So then I can maximize on conversions of all of those lead sources. But again, if you're doing this, there's no reason if you are doing this right, why you shouldn't be listing a couple homes. Or let's just say you're doing, an open house every single weekend. At a minimum, you should be listing 2 homes also then a week. And then there's ways, and I've talked about this on another podcast, so I'm not going to go into this today, that we can also do open houses on FSBOs and do open houses more strategically where it can lead to even more listings and more listings. But this is a 6-step process where if you nail this, not only are you going to get a shit ton of great, awesome buyer business and price points and areas that you want to work in, but you're also going to get a bunch of listings, right? So if you do this right, and you play it right and you follow the right steps and the right strategies, you can go out there, murder, and crush it. So hopefully this is helpful. And again, make sure to check out gsdmode.com for more additional free resources, more additional free training. And again, if you want to schedule and jump on a 60-minute free Zoom coaching call with me personally, where we can assess your business, look at where your business is at, what you're currently doing, what your biggest obstacles are, what your personal situation is, and then that way I can help you map out the best overall strategy plan to get you from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient manner possible. Go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call, or you can go to gsdmode.com. There'll be a banner at the top to go out there and schedule that. Or wherever you're watching or listening to this, if you click into the show notes or the description, there'll be a link right there to go out there and book that. But I'm here to help you and support you in the way I possibly can. Look, if you are struggling and you're not jumping on one of these calls with me, shame on you. Like, I'm giving you the lifeline. Again, dude, I'm not here to try to, hard sell you anything. Like, I'm here to support you and help you grow your business. I could promise you this. You will not leave this free Zoom call without knowing exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. I cannot execute for you, but as long as you're willing to do the work, I will make sure you know every day, every week, what you need to do to go out there and crush it in your real estate business. So again, if you want to take advantage of that, www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. All right, guys, keep crushing it. Appreciate your support, and I will talk to you next time. Peace.